problems on lesson 42, we'll read percents and have to convert them in these types of problems. Okay, so on example 1, we'll write everything down as we read it. It says what number, so I'm going to use W sub n as what number. Is means equals, this is right here. Okay, is 25%, so I need to convert 25%. If I want to convert 25% to a decimal, I need to move its decimal place 2 times to the left. So it's 0.25, written as a decimal. Of means multiply, so let's write that right there. Of means multiply. 50. Okay, and then it's a simple calculator function. From there, you just type in 25.25 of 50 multiplied by 50, and you get your answer. And it's relatively simple to do in a calculator, and then you just write it down. 12.5. Okay, that was A. Let's do part B. It says what number. Now you might be saying, well, this is kind of silly, why would we do that? Yes, right now it seems silly, but when you get to finding unknowns, it'll be a lot easier to write this and solve for it when we get to those. Okay, what number is 125% converted to a decimal? Will be 1, 2, move to the left, 1.25. Of means multiply, 64. So 125% of 64. And we type in 1.25 times 64, and we will get 80. Answers get circled. Sorry. Any questions thus far? All right. Let's go to solving using a proportion. So example 2, it says what number is 125%, so 1.25 of 48. Now, this is a good way to start it, but if it tells you to solve specifically with a proportion, I'm going to show you how to do that here in a second. But just to double check our answer, we're going to go ahead and do this. So 1.25 of 48 will give us 60. Okay? But to solve using a proportion, we think, okay, percents are of 100. So always think about that. So if we had 125, it's always of the whole 100. So we have more than the whole. And it will equal, since 48 is the whole part of it, it will go on bottom. And our unknown will be what's up top. So in that case, it was what number, but I'm going to use x in this case. Okay? So to solve a proportion, you put percentage over the total, which is 100%, and then what we're trying to find over the total number that we have, which is 48. And we just do cross multiplication. So we get 100x, and then 48 times 125 is some large number, 6,000, good. And I divide by 100. When I divide by 100, really it's just getting rid of all those zeros. So x equals still 60. Okay, so if it tells you to solve by proportion, you have to do this. Make sure you pay attention to the directions so you don't miss things for silly reasons. Yes, you can still check it using the old method, but we want to follow the directions and know how to do them each way. B, it says 15 is, so I'm going to write it down as I read it, 15 is what percent of 45? Okay, setting this up as a proportion to solve it, and then I'll show you how to set it up the other way. So I'm going to do the proportion over here. So we have what percent is our total of the whole 100. Okay, so we're trying to find the total, which will be 45, of the number we get, which would be 15. Okay, so this is the part over the whole, okay. Start our cross multiplication. We get 1500. We get 45 multiplied by what percent equals 1500. And how do I get what percent by itself? I have to do what? Divide by 45. Good. So when I divide by 45, I get 33.33333. So 33 and a third percent. To avoid writing something down incorrectly, we want to either write it as a decimal that looks like this, 33.3 repeating, because I don't want a decimal approximation if I don't have to, or 33 1/3. Either of these is fine. They are interchangeable in my mind. Okay, so either of those is fine. Questions there? Goody goody. Example 3 then. Application and calculating wages. If I am going to search for a raise, because I'm a salary-based position, I will probably bargain for a percentage increase. And that's how they base our salary as teachers. So every year or every other year, I might see a 1% increase in my salary, which is next to nothing. But I have to take that percent and figure out what my new wage will be. So example 3 takes that kind of philosophy and puts it in. So Anna receives $1,153.84 in gross earnings every 2 weeks. However, 28.07%, which is a pretty close charge, of that gross earning is removed for taxes and other deductions. So I'm going to remove this percent from that wage. Using an equation, determine the net pay. Okay? So you have to make the equation. I need to find out what 28.07% of our wage is. So as I want to find my answer, I will state the question again. 28.07% converted to a decimal is going to be 0.2807. So I want to find 0.2807% of 53.84. So if I just read it down, or write it down as I read it, then I just have a problem to solve. And I get, when I multiply this all out, I get a number that is approximately, because I'm only going to write it down as a hundredths place into the cents, $323.88 is my approximation. Okay? When I'm talking about money, I will round to the hundredths place. The hundredths place. Okay? So she's losing this for taxes. Okay? This is her tax loss. Okay? So now it says how much money will she take home, right? The exact question says determine her net pay. Her net pay is after taxes. So net pay is her total pay, 1,153.84, subtracting her taxes. Whoops, I forgot to write down the 4. Subtracting her taxes, which were $323.88. And then I'll get the total that she makes net. Good. $829.96. Do not forget your labels. If you don't write a label, I'm going to ask you questions like, oh, is she getting paid in gum? Which is a silly question. Any questions here? Okay, if I wanted to check my answer just to see if I'm in the roundabout's right place, I could round and then just quickly check. Okay, so this is how I would check it. I would say that 28% is close to 30. Do you agree? Does anybody disagree? 28 is close to 30. So how much of her money is she keeping if she's losing 30%? She's going to keep 70%. So she's going to keep 70%, converted to a decimal is 0.7. She's going to keep 70% of her total amount of money that she earned, which was $1,153.84. And when I multiply that out, I get 840. Now, remembering that I did an approximation, these two numbers should be close. If they're close, you probably did it correct. Okay? So this is just a quick way to check and make sure that I did it right. Any questions there? Example 4. That's using estimation to check. Application of finances. Dominic earns $9.25 an hour. Working part-time. That's a part-time employment. The circle graph shows how he divides his earnings. This month, Dominic has worked a total of 54 hours. So I'd probably need to find his total wage. It says find the amount of Dominic's earnings that will be put into savings this month. So looking at that chart, it says how much is going to get put into his savings. So looking closely, what is his savings percentage? 40, right? So 40% is what he's going to put in his savings. I need to convert 40% to a decimal. What is it? 0.4. Good. Now I need to find his total earnings. How am I going to find his total earnings? So I take his hours of work and multiply it by his hourly wage, and I will get $499.50. Is that what you said? Okay. So $499.50. So he makes about 500 bucks. And he's going to put 40% of that into his savings. So I'm going to take my $499.50 and I'm going to find 40% of that. So that's product. That means multiply. 0.4. And what do I get? 199.8. Sounds like a sale on a 32-inch TV. $199.80 is what he's going to put in his savings. Questions there? If I wanted to set that up in proportion, I could do that just the same, okay? So I want to take the part over the whole, so the amount that is going into his savings over the total amount that he made, $499.50, and I'm going to put the amount that we're putting in savings over the total amount that he has, 100%, and then I just do my cross multiplication, okay, and solve back. I just want to keep showing you guys how to set up that proportion so that you can do it. Any questions? That's all you need, guys.